All right, welcome to another edition of It's Still Real to Me. Everything Zaslow Show 2.0, including It's Still Real to Me, is always brought to us by our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you're involved in any kind of an accident, you're dealing with a personal injury, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733 as we get you caught up in all the big stories in the world of pro wrestling over the last week. We're coming at you here on a Monday. Weren't able to get around to everything. Father's Day weekend, the whole deal. And we wanted to make sure that we recorded the show, Joey, after the debut of AEW Collision on Saturday night. So we have a lot to get to here. How are you? You doing all right? Everything going okay?
Yeah, I'm glad we had the extra day. So now we have an extra show. We're still we got to figure out how to, synthesize and really digest all of this content. So we took that extra day to get ready.
So let's get right out of here because we got a lot to get to. I'm excited to talk about a number of different things. And I think for the first time I couldn't even tell you when, we're going to start off the show. We're going to start off this week's edition of It's Still Real to Me talking about AEW. And I love when they do this. So we'll go back to Dynamite where they start the night, man. Adam Cole and MJF, right? Like, am I remembering correctly? They started off Wednesday night with a world championship eliminator match, they call it, right?
Yep.
Now, in theory, I hate this idea. All right. Now, that's not something that AEW just came up with. WWE used to do a lot of that. I feel like they haven't done it in a while, but that WWE used to do that plenty. But I hate that idea that Adam Cole needs to beat the champion to then earn a championship shot. So what you're essentially saying is, in order to become world champion, you have to win twice while the other guy wins 0 times. It's not even a 2 out of 3 falls, if you want to look at it that way. You have to win twice. They have to win 0, and that's how you become the world champion. I hate that logic.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really understand. I didn't really get, when they started 2 weeks ago when they announced that Adam Cole had to win an eliminator. It was like, it's Adam Cole. I mean, he's the number one contender. I mean, if you want him to be the number one contender, like Adam Cole's big enough to be the number one contender. Yeah. But I think it makes sense to me in this regard. It's just a different way because we have a pay-per-view coming up. So they have to draw this out. And Cole, there's got to be I guess this is the way to make Cole somewhat earn it to become the number one contender and draw out the storyline of him becoming number one contender, because we still got to get through Forbidden Door. So if they want to start the build now I'm assuming this is going to be for All Out, it's just another way of doing it. I agree. I don't think Adam Cole needs to win a match to be number one contender. He's Adam Cole, baby. He can be that guy.
Now, with all that said, match was awesome. It was like a 30-minute match. It's really cool when you wind up looking at the time and holy shit, they're a quarter of the way done with Dynamite and this match is still going on. So the match was awesome. And obviously it was a 30-minute match because as Cole is about to win, the bell rings, time's up. You got to give a lot of credit here, Joey, because we've seen this before. I mean, specifically, what was it with the 60-minute match between Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega, right? Where that ended up in a draw. We've seen this
Iron Man match with MJF.
Right, but that at least was an Iron Man match. This is not an Iron Man match. This is a match that just ended in time limits. So you got to give the announcers a lot of credit here because when that bell rang after the 2, I had no idea that the time was coming up. I had no clue. But once the bell rang, I was like, oh shit, this is how they're doing it. The time just ran out. So I knew immediately when it happened, but leading up to it, I had no clue that we were close to it.
At the beginning of the match, so I think what they probably needed to do there, unless I missed it and I just didn't notice it, did they do introductions before the match? Like, how for title matches when they're in the ring,
does AEW always do that?
No, they don't. I don't know that they always do it, but it would have helped set the table for the time limit. Because if you're not really listening to the announcer, if there's no emphasis on the announcer, then there's no emphasis on the fact that there is a time limit. So it does make it confusing. Like when the bell rang, I wasn't really sure what was going on.
Oh, I knew immediately, but leading up to it was never a thought in my mind that are they coming up on the time limit?
I actually I was actually a little confused. I thought there was like a screw job going on or something. But it's fine. The one thing I will say is that what my immediate reaction was like, man, this is going to be one of the main events for their biggest show they've ever done. I mean, which is what it seems like they're headed towards.
Yeah,
and
it's going to be great.
And they just did a 30-minute match.
Well, but they could add some kind of stipulation to it, I suppose.
But that's what I'm saying.
The stipulation is no time limit. That's one stipulation,
right? Like a some type of no disqualification or something like that, because they can't.
Although there's never really
they can't do Iron Man. They can't do Iron Man again.
No.
You just did it.
But there's never really disqualification in AEW anyway, right? Like,
he jumped out onto a table. He jumped out of the ring onto it and slammed him through a table.
I will say, that looked like a tough spot, man. Like he hit him hard. He came down on him. And I'm glad, though, at the end of the match, Adam Cole got the mic. 5 more minutes. Thank God MJF didn't accept, because I thought that was a weird thing for Adam Cole to say. Because then if MJF accepts it, it's like, why the hell would you possibly accept 5 more minutes? Yeah. Get the hell out of here, which of course he did. But I thought for a moment he was going to accept it, and that would have made 0 sense.
Well, I didn't think he was going to accept it, but I thought Tony Schiavone was going to get the call in his ear from Tony Khan.
Oh yeah, he loves that move.
And he was going to make him accept
Loves that move.
I thought that's where we were headed there. But it's fine the way it is. Now we'll probably go a couple weeks without any real interaction between them, because we have Forbidden Door, and then they'll pick it back up right after.
Now, somebody has to have done this. So the question is, have you seen it? Somebody has to have gone back to the start of the match with the bell ringing and timed out when the bell rang again at the very end, right? And
I have not seen anyone do that.
Somebody had to have done that. That has to be out there. Because aren't you curious?
No, not really. I mean, it's a Dynamite match. I think like
it has to be. It has to be legit, because if somebody goes back, it's like, oh, this is 6 minutes shy of the time limit. Like, that's bullshit. It has to be.
Oh, no.
Wasn't it?
Well, if anything, it went over. It seemed like the longest match we've ever seen on Dynamite.
I'm really curious if, to see somebody having timed that out. Because then I always wonder, how did they get the timing right that it's coming in the 2 counts? I like that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I guess maybe somebody put it out there. I haven't seen it.
It has to be out there. It has to be. I haven't seen it either.
Maybe I'll go back and watch it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's easy enough. We could just hit a timer at the start and then just go to the end. It's not that hard.
Right.
I am interested in that. And because if they pulled it off where it was like within a second or two, so it's legit, boy, that's very impressive.
Look, they're in the ref's ear. The ref's telling them when it's time to go home.
Right.
I mean, very possible. I mean, if it was down to the second, that's incredible.
Very impressive.
But even if it's within 30 seconds, it's pretty impressive, I think.
Do you have anything else on the main event there? It was great. It was a lot of fun.
No, it's good. I mean, my only problem is it has nothing actually to do with that match. It has more to do with it has more to do with later on in the show, the way they introduced the Tanahashi thing. With Tanahashi and MJF. I wish they would have looped that into this match somehow. Mm-hmm. Like, MJF's walking away. I don't need to fight anybody. Maybe he gets on the mic. I don't need to fight anybody. No one deserves to fight me. And then Tanahashi pops on the screen. I just thought like there was a way to announce the Tanahashi MJF match, assuming it's actually going to happen, because MJF's saying it's not going to happen. He's saying he's not going to show up.
He doesn't have to fight at Forbidden Door, right?
Right. The way I wish they would have looped that into that match, because it would have been a cool thing to have for the live crowd to have Tanahashi pop up on the screen. Mm-hmm. But other than that, the match itself was great.
So we're going to get Sting versus Jericho now, right? We're going to get that at, I guess, is it All In? Is that, I always get the names wrong.
All Out.
At All Out.
No, wait, is it All Out? No, it's All In. You're right.
I can never remember the names.
Well, All Out is the one that's a normal pay-per-view. like every year. All Out is All
Okay.
Out, and then All In.
All In was the first one ever, right?
And I think the Wembley show is the first All In
That makes
since
sense.
that show.
Oh, okay, that makes
right?
sense.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what
Maybe.
it is. I got to confirm.
Now
But it
we
is
knew we
confusing.
were headed toward this because I don't know if you saw, but it was like 2 weeks ago where, excuse me, on Twitter, someone messaged, "Oh, it'd be great to see Jericho and Sting go at it," and
Yeah.
Jericho responded to it, "Nobody cares," something like that. And then the very next episode of Dynamite, we get the two of them in the ring together. Okay, fine, whatever. But here's the thing that bothers me. And look, this happens on like with AEW's broadcast team. First of all, you saw Jim Ross is stepping down. Where
he's taking time off.
Yeah. So he's taking time away.
But you know why? I mean, did you see him?
Yeah, he got busted up and
he sounded terrible on Collision. He sounded awful.
He sounded really bad on Collision.
Yeah.
But here's also an area where Shivani bothers me too. Like Sting and Jericho are face to face. The crowd's loving it. The first thing I would say is, can you shut the fuck up in the moments? Like, can I just watch it and, let the crowd, like, let the moment breathe? I can hear like this. I don't need to hear anyone else. That's number one. But Shivani will do things like Sting and Jericho. We've never seen these two in the ring together. This is one of the most amazing moments in the hit. And it feels so canned and so forced. And it's like, everybody can read the situation. We all know how cool this is, all right? We all know this is a lot of fun, but it's such a canned line. This is one of the most amazing moments. No, we've never seen these two in the ring together. And I don't know, it bothers me in the moment.
I've never liked the Dynamite announce team. I don't like them. I think there's too much joking. I think they just mess up. It's Taz and Shivani with inside jokes. They don't. It doesn't even seem like they really care that much about the wrestling. They're not good at putting over the talent. I mean, I know they all hate MJF, but MJF seems irrelevant in AEW when I'm watching AEW TV. It's just, we get it. We know he's a heel, but can somebody be the heel and put him over? Like, who's the heel on the announced team?
I would have thought it's Taz, but he's not.
He's not. No one puts MJF over, and I get it. Like, he's shitty, but like it genuinely sounds like they don't like him, like as a person in real life.
Yeah,
but
it's an all babyface broadcast.
But again, I bring it back to Excalibur, who's very good.
I think he's good too.
He's very good at calling the action, but I don't think he's good at running the booth. Like that moment that you just talked about, as much as you may not like him, if it was Michael Cole, he would have just stopped them.
Just shut up.
He would have tapped them or been like,
"Yep,
no." He would have known that was the moment where you just lay out and you let it happen.
Yep.
I don't think Excalibur's that guy. Excalibur's a great play-by-play guy. He's he obviously knows he knows the names and the histories and this and that. But Shivani and Taz are legends, and it almost feels like they're the ones running the booth. And Excalibur's there to like hit the beats that they don't know how to hit.
Just feels so forced to me sometimes, and I hate it. It is.
It's either overly forced like that, like it's Sting. All right, it was cool when he first came back.
Right.
Have to do it every time.
Right.
It's either that or it's them being like overly jokey with each other and just like talking about like jokes that they had with each other backstage. It's not entertaining.
Which is worse, Shivani yelling "It's Sting" or when Michael Cole used to yell "It's boss time"?
It's what time?
Boss time.
Boss time. I'm gonna go with Shivani just because I love Michael Cole. So I'm gonna go with Shivani being more annoying. He's not. I don't know. I would say this. As much as they were a little bit shaky first episode, one of the highlights of Collision to me was having like a real announce team.
Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness. Tell you what, man, I thought Nigel McGuinness was very good.
Yeah, listen. You have the play-by-play guy and you have the color guy, and the
color guy's a heel.
And the color guy's a heel, and they're professional, and they're not joking with each other, and it's not like patting each other on the back and like awkward pauses where they're calling each other out for not talking. Like,
I'll tell you what made it for me with Nigel McGuinness. Amazing Power and Glory reference in the main event of Collision. And I don't know how many people understood that reference, But for people who do get the reference, Hercules and Paul Roma, and it's, not only was that their name, obviously, but that was Power and Glory's finishing move. When he calls it, here's the power, there's the glory. That was their finishing move, the superplex off the ropes Hercules used to do. And then Paul Roma times it out, and he does the big splash off the other turnbuckle, because that move was fucking awesome back in 1991. That's an amazing move back then. Yeah. So I thought that was cool as hell that he referenced Power and Glory. That was fun.
Yeah, they need this. This is what I've been talking about. Like, you're sitting here with guys like Impact has Tom Hannafin and Aiden English. I forgot what his name is now. Yeah. You could have, those guys are great. You could have a team like that on, like, Dynamite needs an announced team like that. There's so many moments. I think if you go back over the first, it's been like 4 years now, almost something like that of AEW. 4 years. There are so many moments that I think probably would be more memorable moments if their announced team was not such a shit show.
The announced team is enormous when it comes to memorable moments. It really is. It's really plays a huge role. It really does.
Then you have these and then you have even more so when you add JR and now it's a 4-man booth, and it's like, what are we doing? Like,
and JR is just he's
out. He's done.
Off his rocker,
He's done. He's been done. But he was done the first year of AEW when he was misgendering Sonny Kiss on TV. Like he was doing things. He was saying things on TV that the person running TV should have been like, all right, it's probably time to, move on from JR. Respectfully, like, have him part of the company, let him do whatever he's got to do. I get it. He's a legend, but everyone's time passes. And I tell you something, I was actually looking through the entire AEW roster. They got an old problem. They got a little bit of an old problem in AEW, I think.
Really?
They have some really old people on their roster. I didn't even really think about it because I'm getting ahead of myself, but I was thinking about the Punk stuff, and I was looking up how old he was, and he's 44, and I was like, man, he's got to be one of the oldest guys on the roster. He's not even particularly close to the oldest active. They have multiple guys over 50. I mean, it's crazy. It just speaks to you got to know when to let it go. Tony Khan, I get it, man. You're a huge fan. You grew up watching these guys. You want to have them around. Give them other jobs. They don't all have to be on TV.
The end of Dynamite, you had the 6-man tag, and if I'm remembering correctly, Blackpool Combat Club won, right? They beat the Elite at the very end. But the thing that
they're beating down the Elite at the end. Yeah,
they didn't win the match.
Or maybe they did. I remember all I remember from it. It feels like 2 weeks ago.
Right. Well, I mean, the big moment was the very end.
Ending, was really the beat.
Well, that's the important part. So Eddie Kingston runs out first, which, I mean, look, I'm not an Eddie Kingston guy, so it's
the Hung Bucks won, and then they got beat down. They got beat down by Blackpool Combat Club.
So Eddie Kingston comes running down, and look, I'm not a big Eddie Kingston guy. He looks like a slob. It's not for me. It's one thing to look like a slob and you're Kevin Owens. You know what I'm saying? Eddie Kingston looks like a slob and he's Eddie Kingston. It doesn't do it for me.
Right.
But I did like the kind of callback with Eddie Kingston and Moxley, although I was confused when Eddie Kingston is telling the guys, hey, don't leave Moxley alone. Like, he was protecting Moxley. And then Moxley got up and went forehead to forehead with Eddie Kingston. Like, Eddie Kingston was just saving your ass. What are you getting mad at him over? Well,
there was a lot of things. The Eddie Kingston thing was, for multiple reasons, potentially just like not good. Now, if it's a swerve, like, all right. So first of all, if you don't watch Ring of Honor, you don't understand that there is massive bad blood between Eddie Kingston and Cesaro because they fought for the Ring of Honor title.
See,
that's why he went in and attacked Cesaro.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Right.
Did the announcer mention it? I
don't think they did.
I don't know.
But I'm saying, like, if you don't know that, then you don't know that. If you don't watch Ring of Honor, you don't know that. Now, obviously, you know the history between him and Mox, and that's why I think, him and Mox didn't hit each other, although it would seem like Eddie Kingston was saving, the Blackpool or was saving the Elite.
Moxley. Well, and Moxley.
Right, but he attacked Cesaro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? So they didn't make it very clear there. So that's one thing. Again,
does Shivani know that Eddie Kingston and Cesaro are rivals in Ring of Honor?
I mean, I know that they fought in Ring of Honor for the title, and I think it was like a decent. I think it was like one of Cesaro's first programs as the champion. I could be misremembering, but I just know from reading. I don't watch Ring of Honor either.
I will say though, I will say Ospreay coming out at the end was really, really cool. Really cool.
But here's my thing. So here's my other. So with Eddie Kingston, my concern with this whole thing was, please tell me Eddie Kingston is not going to be the 5th member of the Elite to go up against.
Well, I thought Eddie Kingston quit AEW.
He left and went to Ring of Honor.
But he quit. Like he actually said, "I quit."
Well, but that's why they were like, "He's back. He's back." He didn't quit in real life.
I know, I understand, but for storyline, he quit.
Right, and that's why I think they were making a big deal about him being back. But they definitely left out the part about him, why he's attacking Cesaro.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But again, if this is all leading to him being the 5th guy with the Elite and at All In against Blackpool Combat Club and I don't
know. He's not really play nice with others type of guy. I don't know.
It would be massively disappointing.
Yeah.
If it's a way for them to tease that it's going to be him, but then it still ends up being Kota Ibushi, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
And then he could just do his thing. But it was very strange when he showed up. Yes, Will Ospreay coming out.
That was very cool. That was
and it's good, and it shows people that aren't used to him. He also fought on.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say here, real quick. Again, we've talked about this before. Rampage is such a weird show because I decided. I don't know if it was Friday. I think it was Friday night. I think late Friday night. I got done with SmackDown. I'm like, all right, let's put on Rampage to see what they got going on here, And especially because I also wanted to see what happened with Aubrey Edwards, which predictably was awful. But so I turn on Rampage, and the very first match out the gate, freaking Will Ospreay's in there. I go, hold on a second. He's maybe the best wrestler in the world. And I'm randomly turning on Rampage, and Will Ospreay's fighting. I had no idea.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It was very.
That's weird.
I mean, it was. I don't even remember when I saw that it was happening, but I saw it get announced like on social media. I had no idea.
I turned it on. He's in the ring.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's crazy. I mean, but it's whatever. I mean, but you couldn't have that. We'll talk. I know we're about to talk about Collision. You couldn't have had that match. You couldn't have had Ospreay as on the first ever episode of your big new show. You could have Ospreay.
No. So let's talk about
on the next night.
No, and the reason is
I guess Rampage is pre-taped because Rampage is pre-taped and
that's not
Collision
even
was live in Chicago.
That wouldn't even be my point. The reason was because so I thought Collision was really good, and the reason Collision was really good was it was essentially a one-time thing. Now, look, Collision may be good every week going forward. I doubt it, but the reason Collision was so good this weekend is not because Collision is going to be good. It's because the entire show was built around big stars returning. And you're not going to be able to replicate that every single week. There's only
go ahead.
There's only one time that Punk is returning. There's only one time Miro's returning. There's only one time Andrade's returning. So the whole night was built around these really cool returns of wrestlers we know are really good and have been wanting to see for a while. So that number one is why Ospreay wasn't going to be fighting there, because that night was specifically for these wrestlers getting their shine and returning. But that also leads me to, hey, do you think Collision's going to be great moving forward? I'm like, I don't know. I know this one was really good for something that's not going to happen again. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward.
I think this is, look, the best part of Punk's return to AEW was his return. Like everything that happened after he showed up on Rampage, that when he first returned, was not very good.
Well, but I do think that can change now.
I don't think so. I think Punk. All right, I'm going to go on a little Punk thing.
Well, and I'll add real quick here. The reason that I think it could be different this time around, because maybe Punk agrees with what you just said. The promo that he came out with on Saturday night, that's a very different promo than he's had since he returned to AEW.
He's clearly going to be more heelish.
Yeah,
he's a heel now,
and that's why it could be fine. Different.
It can be different, but the people he's being a heel against aren't going to fight him, or they're not going to be on the show.
Well, we'll see. We don't.
Like,
you mean
if you're going to be a massive heel, the Elite.
Right.
All of the heat on CM Punk is about the fact that they had the thing with the Elite, and it's seemingly, unless it's one big work, which is, I guess, is possible. But it seems like, because I was reading today that Punk is going to be on Dynamite because it's in Chicago and the Elite's not going to be there.
Well, just imagine this. I think it's real. And this goes on for another year. And then finally things in reality get hashed out between the Elite and Punk. And now you got big business you could do together, because Punk's been talking shit for a year. And now they're willing to work together. Okay.
Can I ask you this? Do you genuinely think in 2023, do you still, because I have a very strong opinion on this. In 2023, outside of having a hot crowd in Chicago, is anything involving CM Punk big business anymore? I don't think so.
Well, but that's why this, with real life heat, can be that thing that you're searching for.
It can be for but I guess I'm just talking in the context of this show succeeding.
You don't think in a year from now, Punk versus Omega coming off of real life heat would be big business?
I think it'd be big business for hardcore AEW fans, but I don't think, if it takes them a year to have that happen, Collision's off the air.
Right.
I just I don't think CM Punk is relevant enough in 2023 to be the face of a company, and they are positioning him as the other face of of some version of the face of the company. I did this.
I did really like that promo, though. I really enjoyed that.
Punk's peak relevancy, okay? Mm-hmm. The pipe bomb.
Yep.
4,375 days ago. It's actually 12 years ago to the day next week.
Yeah.
First, the WWE title win that led to the 3-year run. 4,229 days ago. Mm-hmm. He left WWE 3,441 days ago.
It's almost 10 years.
It's 9 years, 5 months, 3 days.
Yeah.
I understand that there's a spot in hardcore wrestling fans of a certain age heart for CM Punk.
Well, it'll be interesting what crowds outside of Chicago, how they react to it.
Right. And I understand why. I love that run for CM Punk all time. Pipe bomb is incredible. He had an incredible run. But there's a generation of wrestling fan that doesn't even know who CM Punk is.
Yeah.
They just don't. It's been a decade since he was relevant.
Right.
There is a generation of wrestling fan who are AEW fans, who know who the Bucks are, who know who MJF, they know who these people are. And I think we're headed down this road of Tony Khan just forcing CM Punk down our throat for whatever reason.
I do want to keep hearing him take shots at those guys, because I love when the lines are blurred. Like that line, counterfeit Bucks. It got a yelp out of me when I was watching it Friday night, you know?
Yeah, no, it was a entertaining promo.
Mm-hmm. Is his old champ? Is his belt in the bag? Is that what's in the bag?
I think that's the implication, right? That he never really it was taken from him, and he never really lost.
It's not going to be a mechanical spider like Eric Redwood.
Oh man, it might be better. But I don't know. It remains to be seen whether a show like this, a Saturday night show, because CM Punk is on it,
worst TV night of the
successful.
Week. Worst TV night of the week.
And the implication that Punk has that belt,
I'll never watch it live. What are you doing Sunday? I'm watching Collision. No.
But also the idea that Punk has that belt makes me think that they're going to just have 2 championship belts.
Oh, I like this idea better, where he just continues to claim he's the real champion. I think it's a cool angle.
Yeah, and I think he's going to defend it.
Really?
I mean, I there's got to be something to fight for on Saturday, right? If MJF's not going to be on Saturdays.
Well, I guess we don't know if he's going to be on Saturdays or not yet. I guess we don't know.
Although now, as much as I don't think CM Punk's I just personally, it might just be my personal opinion. I just don't care about CM Punk anymore. Mm-hmm. This AEW CM Punk, maybe this will change.
Look, I wasn't pining for him to come back, but now that he's back, I'm willing to give it a shot.
So you can watch Saturday night. You're gonna be locked in Saturday night.
No. Okay. I will get around to it if I'm bored some point Sunday, maybe even Monday. There's no chance I watch it live on Saturday night. So no chance.
Also, let me I'll just say this. I hope that this show doesn't just become like all of the WWE guys that we brought in that we don't know what to do with are just stuck on the show, because I think I counted 26 performers on the show, including managers and stuff. 14 of the 26 former WWE guys,
Really?
and on some level, right? That were there and then left and went to AEW. I hope it just doesn't become this thing where like Tony Khan started this company and anybody from WWE who wanted to join could join because they're WWE guys and it gives you a little bit of buzz. Couldn't figure out what to do with all these people. So let's just throw them all on the show and see what works. Like, I hope it doesn't become that either.
Couple of things I want to mention to you real quick about Collision. Number one, really enjoyed Andrade using the figure eight. Thought that was cool. And number two, Luchasaurus winning the TNT TV title. My favorite part, match was really cool. My favorite part about it, though, is Christian holding up the belt as if he's the champion.
Again,
like, that shit's awesome. That
was fun. That was fun. But that was fun. But that was one of the only matches of the night that was between two guys who've never been in WWE, and it ends with a guy from WWE holding up the title.
But he's such a piece of shit, that Christian.
I know, it was
like, that's how they're going to portray this, that he is now the TNT champion.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
Well, he was screaming, "I'm the champ."
I love that. I love that. That's good. Really good.
The other thing from Collision that I'll point out, Sky Blue was in the intro video. I think they must be like. There must be something happening there. Like, she must be getting a big push.
I hope so. That is some tushy. I
was going to say this. Tony Khan clearly has a type. Okay, because you have the jacked athletes fighting for the lesser title. You got Jade Cargill. You got Statlander. You got what's her name, Valkyrie, and then you got the big butts.
Tony
fighting
Storm.
for the. Jamie Hayter.
Yep.
She's not. She's
Sky Blue.
Don't count her out. And then Sky Blue.
Yep.
I mean, Sky Blue's ass was all over Twitter for the last couple. It's everywhere.
Yep.
It is everywhere. So Tony Khan. I mean, Tony Khan's got a. Seems like Tony Khan's got a type. If you want to be a AEW Women's Champion.